I'm just here again. You see that?
Yes.
That's just sitting here by my desk. I totally agree with you. I think your advice is excellent.
Thank you.
It's excellent. You're doing it, and also at the same time trying to stay in good condition, physically. So you know what the benefits are. I'm really happy to hear you say what you said, um, because different people have different ideas. But I think what you're saying, what from what I know, you have better experience with this than I do. It sounds like a really good plan. It's a really good plan.
Is it wrong when people ask me, is it normal that anyone should have the same diet? Is it wrong if I tell people when you go to a surgery, the doctor is not saying you've been a different person, you have different organs. We all have the same anatomy.
That's right.
We definitely have different some lifestyles. Some of us are more active than others. Some of us are taller than others. But we don't need a specific diet that should be made specifically for one of us. Most of us should eat the same to be healthy. Hi everyone, I'm Vlad. First, I want to say thank you for watching my video. If you want to keep in touch with my channel, click subscribe. Next, I want to tell you English is not my first language. I don't speak English, at least when I'm talking with you. And I was pretty nervous talking with Dr. Colin Campbell, but I want to invite you to watch this interview with an open heart and make this interview a point for you. Make a point of changing, make good decision for your life. I want to give you two great advice: to be smart and beautiful. It's cool to be smart, it's cool to be beautiful. You can be both, just following this advice. Stay away of disease by eating healthy. If you stay away of disease, if you are healthy, if you are not overweight, if you are strong, if you don't have diabetes, if you don't have cancer, if you don't have heart disease, this is beautiful and this is smart. Only smart people are doing this. And when they are doing this, they become much more beautiful. You are beautiful, but being obese, being sick is not beautiful. I invite you to watch this interview. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tell me in the comments what other question do you have about nutrition. And yeah, tell me what do you think about this interview. For me, it was a great experience to talk with the doctor. We had a lot of off-record talk after the interview, and he is amazing. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you, guys. Hello, Dr. Colin Campbell. I'm very happy to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your whole work and everything you did for health community and anyone who wants to live longer and having a much better quality life.
Well, thank you.
My whole life was influenced by your work, and I'm very thankful to have the chance to talk with you again after we talk in Romania. I had the chance to meet you when you've been in Romania.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And
Good.
because I'm an athlete who compete in Olympic lifting, in CrossFit. I'm a coach. I own a gym, and a lot of people talk to me and ask me about my nutrition. I said, is no one better to answer to most of the common questions that I receive than one of the most important scientists in the world.
Well, thank you.
I made a list of 10 questions, and I will share with you, and I hope people will be more open to the real nutrition.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Oftentimes, our choice of diet, for different people, as you know, is greatly influenced by culture. It's greatly influenced by family. It's greatly influenced by, whatever information some people may have had. And I can understand, that on the one hand, but in reality, this kind of diet, and we have done this. You may have seen this too. My oldest son has taken groups of people, feeds them this diet for maybe 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks, and sees amazing results. And it's true for virtually everyone. Some people you don't see too much change, and the reason for that is because they're already healthy.
Yes.
Obviously, yeah, you can be super healthy. My other son, my younger son, is a physician, at a major medical school, and so he's now doing this with a number of people. But and in addition, others like Dr. Colin Esselstyn, really doing that with heart disease. Dr. Ornish, Dr. McDougall, and others, they have, almost been doing this routinely for quite some time. And what we all see is that everyone benefits. Obviously, some people benefit a lot more than others if they have a problem. And for those who are already healthy, you can see some benefit there too. But great, obviously, if they're already healthy, they can't get too much more healthy. But this diet, none of the others can make this claim.
Before asking you the next question, I just want to say that most of the other diets, like paleo diets or keto diets, very popular today diets, are promoting the same food that makes people obese. And I see like the cover of those books, like with big steaks, and make people believe eating the same thing you'll get different results. And
Well, yeah, I like the expression of my friend Dr. McDougall on that point, namely that people like to hear good things about their bad habits,
that's
and so
true.
they will defend it that way. Um, and those incidentally, the keto diet that you just mentioned, which essentially is very similar to the paleo diet, to the Atkins diet, to some others that are quite similar. Those all those diets, when you have low carbohydrate, and they try to argue that you should have very low carbohydrate, then it naturally is very high in protein and fat. And when I say protein, and they also mean this, it's high in a protein of animal foods. So the low carb diet really had got started as a means of protecting the good name of animal-based foods. And so the industry was very interested in that kind of diet.
In supporting that.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't necessarily say it that way, but that's what it is. And you can see some results in the short term. That's true. If people are overweight, you see some loss of weight that impresses people. You might even see a little bit of drop in serum cholesterol levels, for example. And at the same time, they really reduce their calorie intake quite
That's true.
substantially when they do that. You look at that combination, it sort of looks good maybe for a month or two. But in reality, almost all those people really quit that after a while, at least how strict that is. But the more important thing is that kind of diet, if you look for lifetime effects, that effect doesn't last for more than maybe 2 or 3 months or something. Because if you look at the relationship, for example, between high protein diets, heart disease and cancer over a lifetime, that's very impressive. The higher the consumption of animal protein, the higher is the risk for cardiovascular disease. The higher is the risk for cancers. The higher is the risk is for, let's say, chronic kidney disease. The higher is the risk for diabetes. And so if those people want to argue, in favor of those diets, they might, as I say, get some benefit in a very short term, or they feel like they're getting some benefit. But in the long time, they're going to die sooner.
This is also what I see in the sports community. CrossFit is a big sport now in US and around the world, and more athletes are switching to higher carbs diet and even completely vegan. And those people are not doing it most of the time for health. They are doing it for performers. But when you have
Yes.
a healthier body, will perform better in stress condition like a competition is. The next question is, please tell me the difference between the vegan diet and the plant-based diet, because I was never a supporter of vegan community. Even I respect everyone who is vegan. I think it's already doing something good. It's a step forward. But tell me the difference from your point of view.
Well, the way I'm very similar to you, by the way. I did not write the China study because I was interested in promoting the vegan diet or the vegetarian diet. I was just doing it from this. Well, actually, in the beginning, when I started my research career, I was trying to prove the opposite. But so it's strictly on the basis of science. Now, coming back to the vegan diet, most people who adopted the vegan diet in the past and still pretty much today, they adopted it for animal welfare reasons or for ethical arguments, which is fine. I'm not quibbling with that. That 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 kind of argument is not the only argument, and as a result, the people who became vegan, they didn't change their diet very much. Yes, of course, they don't consume animal foods, but what they do, then they turn around and increase the consumption of fat and sugar because they're addicted to it.
Yes.
And we now have data. It's actually from Europe, the so-called EPIC study. It's the biggest study of its kind. It turns out, on average, vegans and vegetarians and meat eaters all consume exactly the same amount of fat. They also all consume the same amount of refined sugar. And so we see some benefits for vegans and vegetarians, but not like the whole food plant-based diet. The whole food plant-based diet, we can reverse the disease. We can treat illness.
Yes.
So there is a difference.
Coca-Cola is vegan. French fries are vegan,
Of course, that's
but
right.
they are not part of a whole food plant-based diet because it's
Right.
processed food.
Absolutely.
Another topic that people are always opening with me when I have any kind of competition or health summits here in Romania, it's about how should a child eat? And do you think a child should eat different than an adult?
No, not at all. I mean, the best food for an infant, a baby, is mother's milk. So breastfeeding is obviously important. But in reality, this diet is good for all people from birth to old age. It really is. It works for all, and we now have, pretty good data on this now. And it's just the way it works. I know in my family, our youngest grandchildren were actually raised that way during their parents. I mean, their mothers were raised that way during pregnancy, and so the child was born that way. It's 100%, and it works fine.
In how much time someone who is starting a whole food plant-based diet should see the first benefits?
Amazingly, within days. And what I'm talking about is maybe some loss of weight if they have weight to lose. But what they really see quite dramatically is a drop in their serum cholesterol levels. If they have blood pressure problems, that oftentimes also shows up. It tends to go down. Blood triglycerides. It's a little more complex in that case, but they tend to see changes there. So blood pressure, serum cholesterol, body weight, and they oftentimes say they feel better. Of course, that's not a very good index, but anyhow, that's what happens.
What we have here in Romania, it's we have a period in time when people are not eating animal protein because of religion belief and
Right.
because of a Christian faith. And everyone is saying, I felt so good during that time, but when the holiday starts, everyone is just killing himself eating tons of meat and eggs and dairies. And it's crazy to see how people see by themselves they start to feel much better in like 1 month. They lose
Right.
weight, they feel like they have more energy, they wake up early in the morning without the clock, they feel like they can handle stress much better. and they still don't consider to keep this as a lifestyle, and this is why I try to promote more and more. From your experience, people who suffer from heart disease, diabetes, even cancer, what hope they have when they switch on a plant-based diet?
Well, that's a very good question. We don't have enough information on that in the professional literature. Although in heart disease, there is Dr. Esselstyn, Ornish. They've published some of that, so that is quite clear. It's really a dramatic effect. The heart disease goes away. That's really quite clear. In the case of diabetes, also, diabetes tends to reverse quickly. When people are on that. So heart disease, diabetes. In the case of cancer, it's a little trickier. We need more information on that. But I did it with the experimental animals, for example. We could easily stop it by just reducing animal protein, for example. It was a major effect. And so the biochemistry of that particular disease is such that I believe we will be showing very clearly with good professional research that it happens with that too. I know of a lot of personal cases where people reverse their cancer. On that score, by the way, science has not done a very good job in doing research in that field. But my youngest son, the one that co-authored the book with me, he is now a doctor. He's at a major medical school, and he has actually now already begun doing a study on using the whole food plant-based diet on women with breast cancer, advanced breast cancer. We're going to see what happens. So we need more research in that field, that's for sure. But on the other hand, what we do see so far is very encouraging. And I personally believe that that's the best thing. But let me go to another part of your question, I think. If people are asking you whether they can reverse heart disease or cancer, for example, most of the people have heart disease, or maybe they have someone in their family. And I would say that with heart disease and diabetes, yes, do it right away, immediately. And I think they'll almost for sure everybody will see a big benefit. On cancer, I think that's also true, but we can't actually be absolutely positive of that. Cancer is a little bit more difficult, and we don't have enough evidence. But the best thing, it is the best, what should I say, it's the best guess for cure. Because right now, we're mostly using drugs, chemotherapy for cancer, and we already have, now this is published data. We have really good published data to show that chemotherapy agents do not work.
And also makes the chance to, if you survive, make the chance to have cancer again even higher.
That's right, exactly, absolutely. That's another part of it. So
I also, when it's about cancer, from my research, are so many different kind of cancer, but the most common cancer, like breast cancer and other kind of cancer that are much more frequently, just cutting the meat and cutting the estrogen intake that people are eating through meat, like all the hormones, then most of the estrogen, it's helping a lot in woman
yes,
case. And I decided, being an athlete, and for me health is the main focus, but also I want to perform as good as I can at my level, and I decided to lower my protein, and I decided to lower my protein as low as not following any like target. I eat around 30 to 40 grams of protein a day, and doing that, my performance has increased. And what's your opinion about lowering the protein intake and not supplementing that? Because a lot of vegan athletes are promoting vegan proteins from soy or other beans. What do you think about lowering the protein level?
I was really interested in what you said for yourself because that kind of study actually was done very well. in 1904 and 1907. It was a professor at Yale University, United States. And at that time, I'm writing about this in the book that I'm now writing. At that time, there was a lot of enthusiasm for increasing animal protein intake for, let's say, for athletic performance, as well as just general health. So he didn't believe that. He organized a study where all the people in his study consumed less than 50 grams of protein a day. First, he did it on just regular students at university and got dramatic results. And then he tested their athletic performance. It was very interesting. The way he did that, he gave them 15 different performance tests, and from endurance to strength and so forth. And he did it before and after, and he got really good results. These are just for students. But then his colleagues said, and by the way, on the diet, less than 50 grams a day, like you just said. But his colleagues said, no, and they didn't quite believe that if those students, while they were training, had eaten animal food, it would be better. So he did another study. In this second study, he did it on very fit athletes, really already in excellent condition. He dropped their protein intake to less than 50 grams a day. Their performance dramatically increased. It was beautiful. It was published. It was 2 books. That was and everybody forgot about it. But it was the first book, I think, was 1904. The other was 1907.
I didn't know about this study. The reason why I dropped my protein is I wanted to keep my anabolic rate lower to prevent wrong replication of the DNA. I was thinking if my cells are replicate at a lower rate, a person should live longer, and we see this with kids now eating such a high protein meals every day. Kids start to look like grown men at very young age, and the period that girls starts to come faster at a younger age. And when I drop the protein, my muscle starts to become smaller, which is a fact, but my performance starts to get significantly better. It was not like an impression. In my sports, I'm doing the same workout are like tests that are like everyone in the world is doing, and you do this year by year, and you get very good at those tests, and it's hard to improve from a year to another. Sometimes you have worse performance than last year. You had a good day last year and you perform worse. But lowering the protein, I start to have an improvement in all the tests I did. And even the exercise like running, where I'm not very good, I start to run much better. I start to see like running is not as bad. Maybe eating so much protein hurt my body, and my body couldn't perform at a healthy level.
That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, and that's, as I say, that was exactly what was found in the early 1900s. And more recently, I have also met now a number of also world-class athletes, really at the top, the very best, who have actually switched and have say the same thing you're saying. Their performance improves.
I want to ask you, because I read all of your books, and your last book, Whole, was an amazing book, and I just want to ask about fasting. I never find in your books this topic discussed too much. What do you think about fasting?
Well, I'm sorry I didn't put that in the book, because I actually tried it myself. And in fact, it's one of the reasons I really got into the diet thing also. Let me say it this way. In the 1960s, when I was a young scientist at MIT, I was working on a project trying to isolate a very toxic compound. It was the toxic compound that the U.S. used in Vietnam. It was called Agent Orange, and there was a chemical in that mix that was causing some serious problems. And I actually isolated that toxic material, and I published it. That was 1966. But I got exposed to it. Was very, very toxic. I got exposed to it. So the next 25 years, I had some difficulties. It was affecting my speech. It was so forth and so on. And finally, I'd gone to many doctors, and I couldn't take care of it. And I had to give up lecturing. And so finally, I went to a group of people who believed in fasting. So I did fasting. I fasted only on water. It was medically supervised. I did it for 14 days. 14 days. And I wasn't sure, you know, I mean, my speech was really bad because the doctors all said I would never be speaking. They should put a knife in my throat to do a tracheotomy because they thought that I might choke to death. And so I did the fasting for 14 days. It felt okay. I felt pretty good. I didn't think I gained very much, but my wife said I did. So then I went back a second time. The second time I did it for 10 days. The second time, again, it was maybe a couple of months after, all of a sudden I started speaking again. And so I have become really quite interested in the fasting phenomenon because that group who were doing that, and they are the best in the United States. They're in California. And the director of that clinic is a good friend of mine now, and I've seen a lot of patients that he has gone through that program. And it really is. And I've also published a couple of papers with him, you know, of data that he had. And I'm absolutely convinced fasting is a good thing. It's very good. I don't know whether people need to fast for 10 or 15 or 20 days. I know someone that fasted for 43 days who had cancer and he got rid of it.
Whoa.
And so a lot of people at that clinic, the average fasting is 19 days.
Whoa.
That's the average.
Is the clinic of the Dr. Clapper?
Yeah, that's where Dr. Clapper was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there. He's a good friend of mine. It's called True North. And that is headed by a man by the name of Dr. Alan Goldhammer. He's he lives in the same town where Dr. John McDougall lives, and Clapper. And so, yeah, Clapper's a great guy. He's actually working for one of the organizations I'm involved with.
He's maybe the most important scientist when it comes to fasting.
Yeah, he didn't, well...
From what I find or what I could research on the internet.
Yeah, he certainly got a name for it, but he was not the one. He came there to work. He was one of the people on the staff.
Oh.
But the people who started it, as I say, Alan Goldhammer especially, he's the one who really started it. And so Clapper at one point did not believe in it very well. And one of the reasons he went there to work, I think, was because I had a young woman working for me, you know, who needed some help, and he advised her too. And fasting, we weren't sure, he wasn't sure about, but he went there and he spent, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 years, I think, working there. Now he's not working there anymore. He goes back and visits, but he's actually working now for a group that I'm involved with, one of our groups.
I also tried fasting, but I also recommend people, and I will just tell you in 3 minutes how I recommend people to eat. And I'm really curious about what you think. And yeah, I recommend people to cut the breakfast. The reason why I'm suggesting that is most of the time in the morning you need to hydrate your blood. You don't have enough energy because you need to drink water. And I recommend people, if you are drinking water first thing in the morning, you will lower the level of water in the body because digestion need more water. And I recommend people to eat healthy. It's much easier if you eat less meals every day. The chance to eat what's right is higher if you eat less meals. I recommend people to eat 2 main meals every day. always to eat until they are full. Never eat just a little bit, like eating 8 times a day, a little bit, but eating two main meals. One can be only fruits, most of the time before the training or after the training, and in the evening, maybe before going to sleep with 1 or 2 hours, to have another main meal which should be cooked. And always have a lot of greens, a lot of veggies that are like crucifers veggies, and cutting the breakfast. I see an amazing results. People are calling this intermittent fasting.
Right. I'm just here. You see that?
Yes.
That's just sitting here by my desk. I totally agree with you. I think your advice is excellent.
Thank you.
It's excellent. You're doing it, and also at the same time trying to stay in good condition, physically. So you know what the benefits are. I'm really happy to hear you say what you said, um, because different people have different ideas. But I think what you're saying, from what I know, you have better experience with this than I do. It sounds like a really good plan. It's a really good plan.
I see so many so-called nutrition experts, and I offer all my knowledge to everyone for free, because I really believe it's not so much secrets into nutrition today. You don't need to have like a perfect plan. You don't need to have something special made for you. And are so many tricks that nutritionists, you so-called nutrition experts, are using to collect money from the clients.
That's
I
right.
I really believe if you keep everything simple, and you just eat. For some people, it's not suitable to eat 2 times a day. They need 3 meals a day. One can be only fruits. Two can be cooked. Again, as less meals you have, the chance to eat healthy is higher. And I feel this also not raising the insulin level so many times a day. It makes starving control much easier. Eating make you more hungry. Not eating give you much power and control against the starving, which everyone is having a problem. Was a
Right.
holiday now in we had the holiday, the Christmas, and I just finished my competition. I was very proud of winning, and I eat like a vegan, not like a whole food plant-based diet. I eat like a vegan, and I had moments when I felt like so full that the food was here, but still starving, because I wasn't eating right, and I was eating the whole day long. And I said I can't wait to pass the new year and go back on the track, go again on my uh, eating plan, and cutting meals helped me even to eat even less. And was amazing how those so-called nutrition experts recommend so many meals. Eat this, eat this, eat this, and you need like two chefs just to cook for a person to be able to keep those plans, which are almost impossible to keep. Like, I don't know what to say, but it's a it's an interesting industry, this industry of nutrition experts, and I was very very glad to have your opinion today.
Well, can I ask you something about yourself?
Yeah,
So, you were an athlete.
yeah.
Apparently, you're very good, obviously. Uh,
I'm doing my best.
so, what sport do you do?
I'm doing CrossFit, which is a combination
Oh, that's
between
great.
Olympic lifting, gymnastic, and cardiovascular, no, cardio, metabolic conditioning, like running, rowing, swimming. It's like all the sports in one sport.
Right. I understand. I have some friends who've done that. I never did that, but uh,
I own an Olympic center, and I was very influenced by meeting you. And I had the nutrition companies. I used to sell supplements, and after starting reading your books, I closed my company, And after closing my company, I invest all the money to build this gym. And I'm just 27, but my main goal in life is to make as many people as healthy as I can.
Wow.
And
Well, congratulations. That's really good.
thank you a lot. I even want to show you something. You told me about the Tony Gazelle, the athlete.
Yes. Right.
And the first friend that I was trying to convince to try this diet, I even changed his name in the phone. I put his name Tony Gazelle in
Oh,
the phone
right.
after hearing your story. And even like now I make 10 times less money than I made when I was a businessman and I used to sell supplements in Europe. I feel like now I'm doing what I was born to do. I feel like I'm doing my real dream, helping people to be healthy.
Can you can you make enough? That's a big question I have for you. Can you make enough money to be satisfied by
Uh,
doing it this way?
I lower my standards life. I don't need so many. I don't need an expensive car. I sold the car that I bought with the money that I had from nutrition company. It was a limited edition car, only one in the world, brought from Los Angeles, shipped to Romania, and I sold
Oh, really?
that, and I sold everything to build a gym. And I wake up in the morning, I meet my clients, I do my training, I eat, I do another training, I train again my clients, and I'm much more happier. I feel like I see a difference.
Right. Do you live near Bucharest?
No, I live in the other side of Romania,
Oh, okay.
and I was pretty influenced by your work. It means a lot for me.
I forget the name of the town where I was lecturing. Somewhere's
Brasov,
Brashov.
Brasov, that was the city. Poiana Brasov in the mountains.
Yes, right. Beautiful.
Yeah, well,
Beautiful
it's an
place.
amazing place. I remember now, like I was messaging you in like one day, and the other day in the morning you messaged me saying you're in Romania. I didn't know you are in Romania. It was like a coincidence. I just sent an email to you, and you answered me
Wow.
back. I'm in Romania. Tomorrow I will be at Brasov. Call this person. She's like my assistant, and it means a lot for me. And I hope I will be able to help as many people as I can, because my grandfather died by cancer. My grandmother is having now cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. My mom had diabetes and cancer. Now she's fine. She survived to cancer. Now she's also having no more type 2 diabetes. She become vegan at 50 years old, and my parents are farmers. Like, they used to eat meat because that was the cheapest food they had. And yeah, it I really want to do this my whole life, and I don't need so much money to buy my veggies. I have a My plan is also in the next year to produce almost all the food that I eat.
We have now a new course we're going to have soon on food and environment,
Oh, that's amazing.
which is a really important topic, as you know.
That's true.
Actually, my grandson, who was a graduate from university, is the one who's actually organized that, and is working with us doing that. It should be ready maybe in 6 months or something like that. I don't know, but that's a really important topic too. I think you read China Study, you read Hull. I think you'll really be interested in this book I'm writing now because there I'm trying to understand better why there's so much confusion in nutrition and
Uh,
where did that come from. And so the book is all about that because I also was involved in national policy development as well as internationally. So I saw a part of this story, from the government's point of view, which unfortunately is not a very
it's based
happy.
on economy, not on the health
That's
of the
right.
people.
It has nothing to do with health, in my view. It's all about the economy, or who can make the most money, and that's really what it is.
I also can't wait to read the new book of Dr. Ornish.
Oh yeah, he right. He that's already out.
Yeah, I order it, but it takes a while until you receive it here in Romania because you
Right.
cannot buy in Romanian, and I ordered from Amazon. I wait for it, and I didn't know you are working to a new book. I was thinking reading the whole book. I was thinking that's gonna be the last one. It was like a
Now I got one more.
conclusion.
Do you know the Chinese have been translated into 61 languages. 61. That's the second most according
Translated.
in the world actually. That number of translations, in the area of health. There was but actually it's first in health, but it's the second in in some other category.
Yeah, and overall
No, overall, and so um, the first country that translated the China study
was
was
Romania.
Romania.
I
Yeah,
know. Romania is having a lot of problems with cancer and heart disease.
right,
Also because of the when was the Chernobyl nuclear disaster,
right,
and also because we are in a little bit more poor country, eating oil and eating meat is a statement of rich.
right.
You
It,
show
yeah,
richness when you are putting oil over your food in a plate. You show that you are rich,
yes.
and
That's
people
not so.
are not saying like this is richness, but you see how people want to show off when it's holidays. You just see how
It's,
people are putting oil in there.
it's just really the same every place. It's the same in China. Because most of China, we worked a lot in different places all around China and a rural area. Uh, and so they didn't have any money much. And so as soon as somebody started getting some money, the first thing they wanted to do was to get some meat.
This is happening in India right now. In
Yeah,
India, because they have more money, people,
yeah,
even the number of vegans are growing. The meat consumption is growing also because of India, where poor people start to eat meat for the first time in their life.
right.
And yeah, I really believe environment is a very important topic, and I will promote the course here in Romania. I have a pretty good audience, and I really hope things will go better and better. At the end of my life, I hope I will see some change.
Yeah, it's. I have seen actual changes, rather quickly, at least from my perspective, because like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, or maybe 25 years ago, the vegan idea was not known hardly very much. And so I've seen these changes happen just in, 10, 15 years, and it's quite rapid. So,
What I believe you should try, or your team, it's making like a whole food plant based diet course with levels. Level 1, level 2, like you have as a coach.
right,
And because I feel like first the course, the level of is like a level 1 course, is like the base.
right,
And I don't know, we don't have in Romania any option to study nutrition, like real nutrition. And you can only study like the best place in Europe is Paris. At diabetes, it's like for diabetes, um, I don't know how to say that, doctor school, diabetic
right,
doctor school, and they recommend like white bread and meat and this like same stuff that gave you diabetes. And
that's
like
right.
that's in Paris, like that's the most well-known nutrition school in Europe, and maybe that would be very interesting for many people to have like level 1, level 2, level 3 of whole food plant-based diet
Right.
course.
We're doing that a little bit. And you may not know this, but my son, who is the physician, for example, he has put some lectures together on a little more simple basis. No, actually, my other son did that. So we are working toward that, something like that. Just kind of a course for everybody who doesn't have any background or something like this, and then level up to, a little more sophisticated and so forth. Yeah. So, yeah.
I
Well, that's
will I will keep
you're
following everything you work.
you're really doing extremely well. I'm pleased to hear your story.
Thank
This is
you. It
very
was crazy when I decided to just stop the company, and coming from a poor family was a very big pressure from family to keep making money because I was like most successful in my family. But now even my parents, they become like vegans. They are eating like having a whole food plant-based diet.
is
My
that
father
right?
had heart disease, and my mom had like starting diabetes, and they are now, they don't need any pills,
Really?
and they are following, they are sharing all the time fork over knife on their Facebook. And if you check
Really?
my parents Facebook, you only see mastering diabetes posts with vegan food. And even they, being so old, seeing how many people are dying every day by cancer and diabetes and heart disease, it's amazing how they change. I wasn't believe, like I was thinking like my
Really?
parents will think I'm crazy.
Well, you might know, I'm 84 years old, and I don't use any drugs. And our family, we have 5 children and some spouses and 11 grandchildren,
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
everybody eats this way. We don't use drugs.
That's
So
amazing. I also believe like the vegan community, to make money, it's pushing so many supplements. They need to make money, and to make
that's right.
money
That's
they push, even in the vegan community they push so many supplements. And the fact is, if the diet is good,
you don't need
like,
it.
yeah, you don't need it. And if
That's
you
right.
need, you need to tweak something in your diet.
That's right. I totally agree. But that is a big problem. How can you push this message, which we agree is the best message possible? How can we do that and also at the same time get enough money? I mean, that's the biggest problem. People need to make some money.
Yeah, they
And
can, they can like be great athletes, or they can work whatever else. You don't need to promote something.
that's right.
Was an amazing pleasure, thank you, and I will follow your work. And yeah, maybe in the next 20 years we'll have another call.
Good. Yes.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Have a great day. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.